this is Paul with my two sons at the backstage at the Grammys. And here's that crazy story.
Oh, that's your Twitter photo, by the way, right?
That is, yes. That's
okay.
That's my Twitter photo. And it's one of the most meaningful ones for me because, 30 years ago, I went on the road for Rolling Stone with Paul McCartney around the world. We went to South America.
Oh.
That was Linda's last big tour with Paul. Linda, unlike Holly, occasionally someone will take a liking to me, and Linda liked me. And for some reason, she did things like she took a photo of me backstage and said, "I know you write books, so here's your free author's photo." So I had a portrait that I could put on books for years by Linda McCartney. She also, most importantly, when we got back to the States, we went through New Jersey, where I'm from, and she said, and I think maybe she had someone in mind to set me up with. She goes, "Do you have a girlfriend?" And I went, "I actually just met a great girl, and she's in New York visiting on." She was happy, and this is my wife Fran now, but she goes, "I want to meet her." So I said, "Well, she's in New York. She could come out." She goes, "Bring her." She goes, "Invite her to sound check tomorrow at Giant Stadium."
Who was at that show?
Show off.
No, well, and what? Oh no, the best thing is a Paul McCartney sound check is better than a Paul McCartney concert because he does nothing from the concert. He did only other Beatles songs or early covers or favorite. He just riffs. And to this day, I went to one a couple of years ago. That's how he does it. Now he sells these tickets to that for charity to raise money for great causes. But at that point, I was the great cause, was trying to get me laid. And so Linda said, "Bring this girl." And this is like my fourth date with my wife is this. So that's why I'm still married. And so and even though my wife doesn't like music, or didn't then, but she still was this was a good invitation to lunch. So we watched soundcheck, and then we had lunch with Linda, and Paul's like there in the afterwards. That's a hell of a good date. But after that, Linda pulled me aside and she said, I'll never forget it. She goes, "Do you think I know about marriage?" And I'd been on the road with them, and I realized they had this amazing marriage. And I went, "Yeah." And I grew up as in a divorced family. I didn't know much about good marriages, but I could tell this was better than that. And she goes, "Marry that girl now." And I went, "What?" She goes, "Just do what I say, marry her now." So that was Linda's gift to me. I proposed to my wife within a few months of that. We got married really quickly. And so cut to Linda sends me the photo, Linda gets sick, and Linda is gone. All so sad. But when Paul finally, years later came to the Grammys, which he had never done, I'm backstage at the prompter working with talent, which is what I do. Like we run through what the script is, and we make changes and add a joke or take a joke away. My wife, who smartly kept our kids away from show business, by the time they were like 12 and 14, said, "Okay, they can come to the Grammys, one show a year with her." That's like the only show my wife ever came to. She's coming backstage to where I am, and she goes, "I have to show you a picture." And that picture is, my wife took it because she's walking down the hall to find me, and Paul McCartney jumps up and says, and I tell you, even backstage at the Grammys, everyone is trying to get a photo of Paul. He does not ask to get a lot of photos. Paul said, "I need a picture with those boys." And my wife took this picture of Paul surrounding the two of them. For years after this, I had two theories. One, Linda's spirit was telling him this, because there's no way Paul could have remembered what my wife looked like and realized it was my kids. I couldn't believe that could be the case. Or the Jonas Brothers were on the show that year, and the boys looked a little bit like Jonas Brothers. I am from New Jersey. So I thought it's one of two things. It's either the hand of God through Linda, or it's the Jonas Brothers scenario. Cut to, for the anniversary of, I think it was the 60th anniversary of the Grammys. I'm so tired now, I don't know. I was sent to Chicago to talk to Paul about the Grammys. We were told, you have 10 minutes with Paul on the side of the stage before he goes on in this amphitheater in Illinois. So I'm standing there grabbing quick questions as he's about to go on stage. We finish a minute before he goes on stage. So we're standing there on the side of the stage. And I said, Paul, I got to ask you one more question, not for this. And he goes, what? I go, and I told him, I said, I have the two things it could be why you asked for this picture. And he started to tear up. And he said, don't make me cry before I go on stage. Okay. And I realized it wasn't a joke, at least in our hearts and minds, it wasn't, it was Linda. So that's why that will always be on my phone. Always. That's the most important photo of all time.